Gen Z like to keep it real. And they like a lot of colors. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's Nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. So today's video is actually going to be more of a discussion type of video. You guys love these. I used to do a lot of these for my makeup rehab videos, but I think that I'll be doing a lot more of these in terms of just general topics. So one that I want to talk about today is why I think minimalism isn't popular with Gen Z. And there are 3 things that I want to discuss, just because I have seen that, like, I'm friends with fellow minimalist YouTubers, and a lot of them have been saying that like their views have been taking massive hits, and I have some theories as to why that may be, why minimalism is not popular in the same way that it was so hot in previous years. So without further ado, let's just get to talking about the points. Let's get it, let's go. Woo. And if you guys have anything that you want to mention, please comment it down below. I would love to have this like discussion with you guys, because I feel like a fair amount of my subscribers are minimalists and you guys are of a similar age to me. I have like an even split between like millennials and Gen Zs, so comment down below if any of these things resonate with you. Okay, so number 1, recession. So I think the big jump or the big rise in minimalism that it was for millennials was that we grew up in a big abundance of like the 90s and the early 2000s, where everything was just like abundance and excess. So we had a reaction to that, not to mention that I think that we went through the 2008 recession, which I think scarred a lot of us millennials as kids, so that we were kind of like, we didn't want to make similar overspending habits as maybe some of our parents did. I think that that first recession really put like a certain kind of taste in millennial adults' mouths as children. So that's my first theory. Not to mention also that we had another similar small recession. I think it was 2018. It was like more minor. I think that was like during the height of it. I think 2015, 2016, 2018, I think that was like minimalism's big height, where millennials were finally making money and they were kind of like, everything is just so expensive, we just don't want to do this anymore. So a lot of us turned to minimalism as a coping mechanism. So I think recessions definitely have a big part to play in why a lot of millennials have fully embraced and enjoyed minimalism as like a tool to get ahead financially. That brings us to the second point, is that I don't think Gen Zs enjoy this like sterile aesthetic that is minimalism. So obviously with minimalism being, you know, the very stereotypical, you know, wearing gray, wearing beige, wearing white aesthetic, a lot of Gen Zs, if you've seen what Gen Z like to keep it real. And they like a lot of colors. So I think that a lot of them think, and a lot of Gen Z, having grown up on the internet, are really big on aesthetics as a way to express themselves. I think that most Gen Zs, for the most part, if financially they're not in a position to, you know, that are forced into it, I don't think Gen Z would personally pick minimalism as a lifestyle for themselves. I think that a lot of, just similar to their millennial counterparts, find themselves pushed into minimalism, and so I think there's that strong reaction. I think Gen Z, if they don't have to, they're just going to completely reject that aesthetic. It could also be that a lot of them grew up seeing that as the exalted standard, so a lot of them are just rejecting it. I think that that's very common. We tend to reject what is popular to the older gen, just like as millennials we rejected that, like that opulence that came with like the boomers. We're just like, that's not really for me. It's a lot of clutter, it's a lot of hoarding, it's a lot of, you know, excessive over shopping. So I think that Gen Z has rejected it, and I think that's why a lot of Gen Z are really big on this like TikTok hyper consumption. But that is for another video, which I think I will be making shortly, TikTok and hyper consumption. But yeah, I think that Gen Z, generally speaking, just find minimalism very constricting and essentially very boring. Okay, that brings us to the third point. A lot of Gen Z, I think, consider minimalism to lack personality, which I don't blame them. You guys may not know this. I used to love color before I became a minimalist. I used to love bright colors. I know that's very strange. I used to really like grays. I know that like a lot of people would argue gray is not a color. As somebody who literally just wears like beige, white, and black, I consider gray to be quite colorful, just because there's so many shades of gray. I think I used to wear a lot of pink, a lot of purples, like lilacs, a lot of like grays, a lot of cool ashy tones. And yeah, so I think I can see that when I transitioned to becoming a minimalist, I like stripped a lot of my identity off, which is like some of the functions of minimalism. But I think it's really interesting because Gen Z is known for being generationally a very sassy, spicy generation. Like literally you just have to go on TikTok and look at all the different types of memes that are made you know, comparing the generations. Like boomers, they're very uptight, they're very strict. Then you look at millennials, who are just like essentially fed up with life. Like we just been hit recession after recession after recession. We're literally like grown ass babies as adults. We just never really quite, we've literally just been in a state of like fight and flight essentially our whole adult lives. And then you have Gen Z, who's just like completely dead inside. So they want something that's just like, they crave that like color, they crave that personality, they crave that excess. And I really don't blame them. I think like if I had grown up watching everyone else be a minimalist, I'd be like, you guys are a bunch of drones, you're a bunch of brainless, you know, sheep. Like you all look the same, you guys have no personality. So when you put yourself in the shoes of a Gen Zer, I think it's very easy to see why they may consider thinking that minimalism is not for them. It just lacks personality, and you can even see that in their aesthetic. I think Instagram is a really good telling of people's thoughts. Generationally speaking, millennials love that curated aesthetic feed. You know, that feed that's always like perfect. It's like photo person. That Gen Z absolutely hates. If you've ever seen a Gen Z like Instagram, it's literally chaos. It's literally like a close-up, a blurry picture of a dog, and then the sky, and then themselves, but like missing half an eye. So for them, expressing their personality digitally is literally like a Gen Z vibe that just obviously you're not going to see in minimalism. If you've ever seen like minimalism, I guess, Instagrams or YouTube channels, or even just like the general life philosophy, I don't think chaos is what comes to mind when you think minimalism. So I think that might be another reason why there's been this decline of popularity in minimalism. It's just not cool right now. The young gen does not think it's cool. I don't think the function of minimalism was to ever be cool, to be honest. I think it became cool due to financial necessity rather than actual need. Like I don't think somebody wearing all gray and lives out of a luggage is considered cool. That's, in my opinion, quite close to hippie-like. So I think it's more like something that was very marginalized, got blown up, became awesome, and then when it became mainstream, it's not cool anymore, and so it started to die down. And I think that's why a lot of minimalist YouTubers have been seeing massive hits on their views, because like, I don't know who needs to say this, but I'll be the one to say it. It's just not cool to the new gen. So comment down below if you agree or disagree with any of the things that I have said. Are you a Gen Z who loves minimalism, or do you think everything that I'm saying holds no merit? I would love to hear it. Comment it down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.